In this Sky interview, Anthony Joshua appears to suggest that the Saudis want to match him with Deontay Wilder on the Usyk Fury undercard in April. Now, AJ has dismissed comments from his promoter Eddie Hearn in the past with regards to who he's fighting next and when. He said that unless you hear something directly from him, then you shouldn't believe it. But personally, I'm not entirely convinced that AJ actually knows what's going on. Don't get me wrong, like most boxing promoters, Eddie Hearn is absolutely full of it. But I tend to suspect that he's far more in the loop than AJ is. Additionally, as I said in a previous video, AJ is not a very good communicator. He often jumbles his words in such a way that they can be easily misconstrued. With that being said, I'm not completely dismissing the notion that he could fight Deontay Wilder on that card, but I'd feel more confident about it if it was coming from Shelly Finkel and Eddie Hearn, and even more confident still if it was coming directly from the Saudis. So let's wait and see if any of those parties give us confirmation in the coming weeks. Now, AJ says he still wants to fight again this year, so any subsequent fight with Wilder would, presumably, be contingent on him winning. There's talks of Ajit Kabayel, Manuel Charr, Filip Hrgović, and Otto Wallin. Now, Charr has the WBA regular belt, which AJ might be interested in. It basically makes you mandatory for the full WBA title. Hrgović and Wallin are ranked number 1 and number 2 by the IBF respectively, so I'd imagine they're more likely to fight each other next rather than fight AJ. And Ajit Kabayel doesn't have a very high ranking, so that could only really serve as a tune-up fight for something bigger, in which case that probably would be who AJ fights in December if the Wilder fight really is being lined up behind the scenes. Now, all of this activity is definitely good for keeping off the ring rust, especially when Wilder is completely inactive. You'd think it would give AJ an advantage, but with each comeback fight, you want to see some improvement, not just in terms of technique, but in terms of confidence as well. But that's exactly what we haven't seen with Anthony Joshua. In fact, an argument can be made that he looked even less confident against Helenius than he did against Franklin. I've said it before and I'll say it again. I think the matchmaking for AJ's comeback so far has been quite poor. The opponents they've given him have not served to build his confidence, and that is what you should be trying to achieve at this stage. It's not about trying to test him or give him rounds. He's had plenty of rounds already. It's about trying to rehabilitate his mind. And I said before the Franklin fight that this is not the type of opponent you would pick to achieve that. Every fighter is different. Some need more rehabilitation than others. You have to know who your fighter is, where he's at mentally, and exactly what he needs. And ideally, AJ actually needs easier opponents than Franklin and Helenius. And I know that sounds bizarre to some people, but that's how far his confidence has fallen, folks. I think you need to keep stepping him down until he starts blowing people out. Let him have a few of those, then gradually start stepping him up again. Much greater heavyweights than Anthony Joshua structured their comebacks in that way. So I don't see why it's such a shocking suggestion here. Anyway, to tie it all in, do you think they really are lining up AJ versus Wilder for the Usyk Fury undercard in April? Or is it just cap? Let me know in the comments.